Dobby a sock. Dobby is free. Hello. Josh went out last night and slept in the spare room like a good boy. I didn't ask him to. He's just in the habit of doing that when he's pissed and knows that he will probably be snoring. He just takes himself to the spare room and it is great. I honestly get the best night's sleep. Anyway, he was in the spare room, aka my office, and I just found a sock and I thought of that. So that's the way we're starting the vlog, apparently. Happy Friday. It is Friday today. I think something's on fire on the other side of the water. Can you see that smoke? Something's definitely on fire. I hope somebody knows about that. Otherwise, there may be trouble. Anyway, happy Friday. It is the day before my birthday. It is my birthday eve. I am 27 tomorrow, which feels right. Everybody says like, oh, it doesn't feel like I should be getting older. It doesn't like, I don't feel like the age that I am. And I have probably made that sort of statement for the last 5-6 years, probably since I turned 18. So 8 years. 8 years? I don't know. I'm not good at maths. That's not changed since my 26th birthday. I would have said something like that over the last few years. But actually this year I do feel like I'm ready for another year. I think this year has been so monumental and such a huge shift generally. You know, my life looks so different to how it did this time last year. And I feel like I am now ready for my next year. So yeah, final day being a 26-year-old. I've got some work to do this morning and then I've got a Fringe show booked for kind of lunchtime. It's called Nerds the Musical and I've heard great things. And it's like one of the last few days of the Fringe before it finishes over the weekend. So I really want to soak up as much of it as I can whilst it's still on. But I also thought I could spend a little bit of time doing a bit of woo-woo stuff for all the woo-wooers in the room, a bit of reflection, a bit of intention setting for the final day as a 26-year-old. So I'm going to do that with you on camera and reflect on the last year, set some intentions for the year ahead, all of that good stuff. So let's get stuck into that. Let me prop you up somewhere so I don't have to hold you. Basically. Okay, this is good. Great. Let's stick you on there. So I've not really ever done a pre-birthday reflection, intention setting, sit down thing, but I do want to make it an annual thing going forward. So I think doing this on video will remind me every year to do an updated version. So I've got a few prompts that I'm going to use. I've got 4 reflections from the past year, and then I've got 1 27-year-old intention setting question. Let's start with the reflection. So number 1 is, what significant moments did I experience this past year that I don't want to forget? How long have you got? Jesus Christ. So let's rewind right back to my 26th birthday, which was also spent in Edinburgh. So I'm in exactly the same space, exactly the same geographical location as I was when I turned 26, which is lovely. Yeah, we came to Edinburgh with some friends this time last year for the final weekend of the Fringe and to celebrate my birthday. So that was a beautiful start to the year. I went to Ibiza in September for the second time, which was so much fun. We went to Tenerife in November. I want to try and avoid just focusing on the holidays, but we did go to Tenerife in November, which was lovely. That was actually my first experience of staying at an all-inclusive hotel resort. Up until that point, I had never stayed at an all-inclusive. Fair enough, we didn't actually do all-inclusive, we did half board, but that was because we wanted to be able to just go and explore the town and the area around it as well. We didn't want to be just isolated to the hotel and what the hotel had to offer. But that was an amazing experience, and that was a little bit of a pinch me moment in that, you know, we were able to, you know, afford that kind of a trip. And yeah, that was a beautiful way to kind of round off the year before we headed into the Christmas period. Sorry, my coffee was getting cold. And then we spent Christmas actually last year at a couple of our friends' house, which was just beautiful. They're getting married next year, and that's kind of irrelevant. But either way, It was beautiful. It was such a lovely way to spend Christmas. And we neither myself or Josh or either of those two had ever done a friend's Christmas before. So that was a really lovely way to spend the, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, Boxing Day. A lovely way to spend Christmas. Oh, New Year, I was sick as a dog. I was so ill. Also, dogs generally don't get that sick. So I don't know why sick as a dog is a phrase. Anyway, I can't remember the last time I was that ill. Oh God, it was absolutely horrific. I think I was in bed for about 48 hours, 72 hours. It was not good. So I spent the new year in bed. So that wasn't the nicest way to start the new year. But January then brought, rewind, start of November, one of my best friends got engaged and I was there to take the photos and get the photographic evidence of it, which was beautiful. Also last year, I was asked to be maid of honor twice by the best friend that I watched get engaged and the best friend that I spent Christmas with. They both asked me to be maid of honor, which was the most incredible honor. And then January I went out to Dubai, which I vlogged. So if you haven't watched the Dubai vlog, go and watch that. I went out to Dubai for a business trip, which was a surreal experience, a totally surreal experience. And I'm actually going out again this January coming, which is very exciting. So that was in January. I also PB'd my 10K at the end of, jumping forward. Stay where you are, Ellen. Where are you? Just got back from Dubai. What else happened in February? I'm trying not to remind myself via my calendar or photos. I want to kind of get it up from my memory. I can't remember what happened in February. And then, March, we hosted, or we didn't host, Regent's Park hosted a 10K, but we had loads of our Strength 360 girls run a 10K, which I also vlogged, and I PB'd that 10K, which was brilliant. I think I got 50 minutes, 50 or something along those lines. That was a lot of fun. And then the day after that 10K, Josh and I came up to Edinburgh to start flat hunting because, that's what happened in February. Josh got his job offer for his now current job in Edinburgh. So that was what sort of started snowballing the process of us moving up here. So we came up to Edinburgh to do some flat hunting in March. And then I had Millie's hen do in London at the start of April. I had another friend's hen do in April. I had another friend's birthday in April, which we went to this amazing restaurant in London Bridge called Café Francois. Oh my God, best fish dish I have ever had in my life. It was unbelievable. Oh my God, okay, racing through now because there is just so much that happened over the next few months. So May, we moved to fucking Edinburgh. I feel like that's been the peak of the year, obviously, as it would be when you move your life from one side of the country to the other. That's going to be a pretty significant segment of the highlights of your year. But yeah, the move, I've spoken about the move in a lot of vlogs previously, so I'm not going to go on about it too much, but the move meant everything to me. I've always envisioned myself living in Edinburgh later in my life. And the fact that I'm now here and I can call this home and I'm a resident and I can just wander into the centre of Edinburgh on a Friday afternoon like it's no bother. I can just buy tickets to go see a show at the Fringe in the evening and go. The fact that I can walk 10 minutes and I'm at the seafront, it just fills my heart with so much joy that I'm here. So that was obviously the most significant change that happened in my last year. And I'm living the dream, honestly. But that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about the move. And then we had all the weddings. I had, in April also, my beautiful client Astrid got married and invited me to her wedding, which was just the most beautiful joy. And it was such a gorgeous, gorgeous day. She looked absolutely unbelievable and so happy as well, glowing, radiant, walking down the aisle. It was a pleasure and an absolute joy to see and be a part of the day. So that happened in April, and then we had another friend's wedding, and then we had our mammoth Greece, Italy trip, which again, I vlogged, which was to celebrate the Millie, my maid of honor duties for Millie. That was her wedding in Greece, which was just absolutely unbelievable And then we had another friend's wedding in Italy. Again, absolutely unbelievable. So that was a trip of a lifetime, honestly, to jump from Greece over to Italy and then back to Edinburgh. That was a whirlwind. And yeah, and then we're up to date pretty much. We've had lots of family visiting over the last few weeks, which has been great. How long? Hopefully you had 15 minutes to listen to that first prompt on my reflection page. Jesus Christ, this is going to be a long video. Sorry, future Ellen, for having to edit this. There were lots and lots and lots of moments that I don't want to forget. And now I won't, because I've got it on video. Also, I was asked to be bridesmaid for my kind of sister-in-law. Neither of us are married to the brothers yet, but my near enough sister-in-law asked me to be her bridesmaid. So that was another highlight as well. Moving on, you'll be pleased to hear. Did this past year feel more like a chapter or a book? I think it's very, very safe to say that it was a book. It was a novel. It was a hardback. The second section of that question is, what would I title it and why? I'm trying not to come up with anything too cliche or cringe. I'm going to go with yamas, which is Greek for cheers, like cheersing a drink, because that was the word of the holiday in Greece for Millie's wedding. And yeah, I think you're cheersing when you're in a good place, when you're surrounded by good people, when you're in a nice environment and you're enjoying the moment, enjoying who you're around and where you are. So I think that pretty much sums up the year. Yamas. Next one, what are 3 lessons I learned and where did each lesson come from? Now, when I was writing this down, I was kind of overwhelmed with thoughts because of how insane the year has been. I have inevitably learned so much along the way about who I am, what I want my life to look like, who I want to spend my time with. Again, it's really, really cliche, the first lesson. And it's not a lesson I've learned specifically this year, but it's one that's really deepened in meaning for me over the last year because of everything that's happened, which is you have to follow happiness. So every decision, every major choice has to be led from a belief that that decision is going to make you happier, because otherwise, what's the point? And I know that probably sounds really overly simplistic, but sometimes you do just have to have a really simplistic look at life in order for it to have the most meaning. Oh, she's getting deep. Yeah, lead with happiness or follow happiness. Follow happiness is my first lesson. Second lesson, have faith in your friendships. One of my biggest worries when we moved was that my friends were going to move on. They were going to forget about me, the friends who were, further down south, and it was going to be much harder for us to see each other. And it was a big worry, but because I didn't have very many worries about the move, that worry didn't feel massively overwhelming because there was still quite a large part of me that felt very comfortable and very safe with the friends and the friendships that I have, knowing that they were going to stand the test of geography. And, the fact that we've now been here for 4 months, May, June, July, August, nearly 4 months. Wow. And, my friendships are just as strong as they were when we were in London across the board. I had absolutely nothing to worry about. So yeah, trust the strength of your friendships because I've got some unbelievable friendships. I feel so lucky about having the people that I do have in my life and the effort that we're all willing to put in to continue those friendships and continue strengthening them. So lesson number 2 is trust in the strength of your friendships. Lesson number 3. This is something that I was saying to a client a few weeks ago who was moving into a new stage of her life. She was moving jobs, she was moving cities. It was a big transitional stage for her. And it was an exciting stage for her, but she was getting stressed about the fact that she was constantly looking to the future and not allowing herself to enjoy the present. And I kind of said something along the lines of, life generally needs to be lived in a 50-50 state. If you're only living in the present, you're not developing or creating a future for yourself. And therefore you have nothing to work towards, you have nothing to strive towards, you have nothing to direct your decisions. But if you're only looking to the future, if you're only working for your future self, then your present self is gonna take a hit from that. And you're not going to be able to live in the moment. You're not going to be able to soak up what you're experiencing now because you're too busy figuring out what the future looks like. So life has to be lived in a 50-50 state of enjoying the present moment, staying where your feet are, whilst looking to the future, creating space for what you want the future to look like and starting to develop that future for yourself now. So third lesson is, and again, that's not something I've learned this year necessarily, but it's something that's deepened this year with everything that's gone on and the next chapter of my life that I'm moving into. So life has to be lived in a 50-50 state is my third lesson. And then final reflection, what are the 3 things I'm most proud of this year? I'm proud of restarting therapy because I knew that there were some areas in my life that really, really needed it, and continuing to stick to it, even in moments where I was willing to give up because it felt too hard. Sometimes it felt easier to just distract and ignore the issues that I was having. So proud of myself for restarting and continuing therapy. Proud of myself for getting in the best shape of my life. So from July, which was technically when I was 25, to October last year, I lost about 6 kilograms in prep for a photo shoot. And I felt incredible. I felt absolutely amazing. And I've managed to sustain that physique / enhance it through muscle development and training at the gym and all of that ever since. So I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel the best I've ever felt in my body. And I also feel the most confident mentally as well, as a result of feeling so confident physically. The process of getting to this point physically has allowed me to grow and develop as a person, as a professional. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of the work that I've put into myself physically and mentally over the last year. And the third thing I'm proud of, the work I've done, a little bit counterintuitive to what I've just said, but the third thing I'm proud of is the work that I've done to feel more at peace with the areas of my body that I was previously insecure with. Yeah, I'm not going to say what I previously have picked myself apart at and do continue to pick myself apart at, because I don't want to bring those thoughts to the surface necessarily, but there are lots of things about my body and my face that I have previously really, really torn myself apart over. And I still have days where I do that more often than I would like, and I'm still continuing to work on that. But something I'm proud of this year is the work I've done to feel more at peace with the areas of my body that I have previously really, really torn myself apart over. Yeah. And then the intentions for 27, I've just got one thing that I've written down, and I've said, what are 3 main goals that I will accomplish? And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about whether I wanted to actually share the goals online or not and have them as kind of concrete, as a concrete format online. And I thought, no, that puts too much pressure on the goals. And I tend to self-sabotage whenever I put a bit too much pressure on my own goals. So I'm not going to say them out loud, but I did still want to add that question into the video. If you're watching this and you're looking for some prompts around your birthday or some reflections to work on. So the prompt is, what are the 3 main goals I will accomplish? Saying will rather than want to just puts that extra oomph into the prompt. And 3 steps for each goal. So what will I achieve and how am I going to get there? 3 steps towards it. So use that if you want. And that is my 26-year-old reflections, 27-year-old intentions prompt session. Cool. This is half an hour's worth of footage. So I'm going to leave it at that and get back to work. Okay, I'm just about to head out to go see a show, but I really need people's opinions. I feel like I can never find the right pair of sunglasses that suit my face. I feel like I don't have a very sunglasses-esque face. Like, I really like these, but I just don't feel like they suit me massively. And then I have some like rectangular, quite flat, like horizontal ones as well. Again, don't think they massively suit my face. So if there are any sunglass or glasses specialists out there who can suggest a shape or a style of sunglasses that I should try, please let me know, because your girl needs some sunglasses. Anyway, let's go to the Fringe and see Nerds the Musical. Another beautiful day in Edinburgh. It is definitely, over the last couple of days, turned a bit of a corner in terms of the weather and like getting a little bit darker in the evenings, Definitely feeling a little bit autumnal up in here, but the blue skies are still bringing me joy. It's still warm enough that I can go out in denim jacket and a little cardigan, which for Scotland at the end of August is pretty fucking good. And what do we think? We've got the double denim going on. Thoughts, feelings, opinions. So Nerds was pretty good. It definitely got better, it definitely grew into itself as a show. The songs were actually really catchy by the end of it. Yeah, not one necessarily to like write home about, but it was pretty good. I am absolutely starving now though, so definitely time to go and find some food and a spot to camp up for the rest of the afternoon and do some work. I actually cannot tell you how good that lunch was. Best lunch I've had in a long time. Very much a fan of Fettle, I think it was called. Like literally round the corner from the Uni of Edinburgh or Pleasance, Underbelly, Bristow Square area. Would thoroughly recommend. Oh, look at this. I just love the Fringe. I just love it. Best vibe ever. Just been on my laptop for the last few hours doing some email work, email writing, copywriting, that sort of jazz. And now I'm heading home. Just stopped on the way home to grab a drink with Josh. He surprised me with a beautiful little bunch of flowers, not little, a beautiful bunch of flowers for my birthday. And yeah, gonna grab a drink. We managed to nab a spot outside Nicholson's, which is one of the pubs down Stockbridge High Street, which only has like 3 or 4 outside tables, but it is such a little sun trap when the sun is out from behind the clouds, and it's so hard to grab one of these tables. So we nabbed it when we saw it, and gonna have a nice little prosecco, a little drink in the sun when it hopefully comes back out again before we head home. I think I'm gonna finish this video here. Give it a like if you liked, subscribe as a little birthday present to me, an early birthday present, even though my birthday will have been and gone by the time you see this video. But anyway, give it a subscribe if you enjoyed and you're new here and you want to follow along for more, and I'll see you in the next one.